Hello. Welcome to another episode of Brew'S with Brianna. Today's topic is going to be forgiveness, a topic that I have not fully mastered, but maybe just like some key points that I wanted to share and speak on and just give my thoughts. As well, in the comments, you can leave your thoughts and let me know. I am low energy, low vibrations today. I am just tired. I'm so tired. So tired. But nonetheless, we will push forward with the video because it is a topic that I do want to speak on. So just excuse the tiredness for today. We'll be back with more energy in the next video. So, all right. Journey with forgiveness, and I guess we'll start with family because that's where my journey with forgiveness began. Had some daddy issues, and that's a lot of us have like parental issues in our lives or whatever. But there was like a good chunk of time from like preteen to I'd say early to mid 20s, like a good chunk of time where it was just like this person, his face, his name, everything, it would just be like on sight. I have an issue, my temper would flare just because of past things or whatever. And I'd be okay like if we weren't, in the same physical space. But yeah, so I'd be okay if we weren't in the same physical space. I'd be okay if we weren't in the same physical space, but being in the same physical space would automatically trigger something, and I'd be ready to lose my shit, risk it all, do whatever. I had this kind of blackout thing, like it would just be horrible. But there was a point, 2020, which was, I think, life-changing for a lot of people for a lot of different reasons. That I had to go into therapy because I was not okay. It wasn't just, dealing with him, but it was just a combination of issues with like myself and how I was dealing with things with other people and holding on to things, harboring so much, just because again, that's a large chunk of time to just like not just dealing with family, but all your stuff, and you're not trying to react out of emotion, especially when you're like raised to, shit happens, keep pushing and leave it, there. But all this baggage had finally like pushed my door open, and I was emotional in a mental mess. And so I started online therapy. That was the fall of 2020, and I did that for a couple of months. I think with the pandemic and everything that was happening at the time, it was a lot. I think a lot of therapists took on a lot. And the two I had, they were great, but there was a point where you could tell like they were being overwhelmed as well. So I kind of like dipped off from that once I felt like myself coming back to normal. And not normal, but just like in a better space, understanding and things like that. And one of the biggest things that both of them talked to me about was forgiveness and how to, what avenues to take to, get to that point, because it was going to be necessary for me, not for them, but for me. Like I was going to have to like let it go and just forgive, but trust and believe. Letting go is easier said than done. And it was, I don't know, they suggest writing letters, and from the letters, if you felt like you still couldn't mail it off, or you felt like, you were still, you weren't ready, journaling. And then somehow, if you built off the journaling and then you feel like you could write another letter and send it off, and then hopefully that would lead into a phone conversation, and then maybe a face-to-face situation where you could discuss, everything, if that person is open to it. Let me stop there. With forgiveness, sometimes that person that, again, because it's going to have to be for yourself, but sometimes the people that you want to forgive, that you want to mend or rebuild with, they're not open to having transparent conversations. They're not open to being honest. They don't want to really talk about anything. They want to pick up and move on without addressing stuff. And if you're a person like me who that does not work for, like, everything has to be talked about, everything has to be addressed, or there can be no mending, right? That's where, like, forgiving for you is important, because some people aren't going to give you that closure. Some people aren't going to want to mend anything, and sometimes you don't need to mend anything. Sometimes it is what it is, and you just need to forgive yourself, forgive them, be better, grow. Don't harbor anger, don't harbor resentment, which, again, is hard, and it is a learning curve, a huge learning curve, and it's not one that I can say that I grasped until winter of last year. I've always been just to leave, move on, and you don't really address a lot of things. The only time I've ever addressed things was with my mother and close friends that were I consider family, and we were having issues or whatever. It's probably the only few times of accountability and addressing things and mending and speaking my truth, because a lot of times I would always be like, well, what's the point of speaking my truth? What's the point of saying something when it doesn't matter? This person's probably not even gonna be around when I die. Why would I even talk about it? Why would I even want to apologize, or they have them apologize to me? It doesn't matter. We're all gonna die. We're not gonna see each other ever again. Who cares? But sometimes that stuff builds, and then you realize you're reaching adulthood and you don't know how to handle forgiveness. And it's probably one of the core things that you learn as a kid. You say sorry for something, you don't do, you know what I mean? But it's a whole different ballgame when you're an adult. It's a whole different ballgame when you're a person that doesn't open up super quick emotionally. And when you do, you feel like it's because you can trust a person. When you find out you can't trust them and things are, then that's when stuff happens. And grudges and resentment and building walls and just not trusting and things like that. So, getting off track, but I became not totally open, but more, I was able to deal with forgiveness more starting winter of last year, when it was just you can either go backwards, Bree, or I was in a situation and it was just you can either go backwards, you can go forward. Say your piece. You and that person don't have to agree, and mending may not be an option. Mending may not be on the table, but just do it to clear you, to clear the space, so that so neither of you are harboring anything. Even if that person is harboring something, then at least you won't be, and they'll deal with their stuff in their own time, in their own healing or whatever. Sometimes you do it from afar, like I said, if it's not on the table to mend or to have a conversation, because it could create chaos, because you just can't do well in the same space with the person. But sometimes you just do it from afar. You're just look, that situation, it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for you. And this is family, friends, relationships, whatever. You just, you look at the bigger picture is what I can say. You look at the bigger picture and you say, this doesn't benefit myself or you. And you know, again, it is what it is. Like I apologize for my role in this, and then hopefully they'll apologize for their role. If not, like I said, if you can't be in the same space, and it's just like, look, I forgive that person, and I hope they can forgive me for my role in, you know, the whole situation. And maybe I could have been more accommodating, maybe I could have been this, maybe I could have been that, but it's not that. Just, you know, I hope that they live their best lives and they're doing great, and I wish them no ill will. And then you leave it at that. Because I've had to do that like a couple of times within the last 2 years, because usually I would just cut people off with no communication, no anything. Because again, I'd just be like, for what? You're not going to be around. You weren't a lifetime person, so who cares? But it does matter. It does affect some part of you in some way that you don't know until it comes up later on. Then you're in therapy and you're like trying to address all these things, and it's like, oh, okay, that's why I do this, that's why I act out in this way, that's why, you know, X, Y, Z. It's great for your mental, it's great for your emotional, it's great for growing as a person, handling, especially I know for people who have become parents, people who are navigating spaces where there are a lot of people to deal with constantly, and sometimes those spaces include family, a lot of family. And when you're with people in close quarters, especially where they're working or living, you're gonna have to be able to take accountability, to apologize. You're gonna have to have the ability to forgive, whatever it is. Like, and again, forgiveness doesn't mean like put it back together and then just go off into the sunset and rainbows and everything. I am learning that forgiveness is just, it's simply just letting it go, you know, just apologizing, taking accountability for your part, and again, hoping that the person does the same. But if they don't, then just wishing them well. Like, it doesn't, you don't have to hold on to everything. You don't have to let stuff weigh you down. You don't have to treat people bad. Like, there's a lot of, you know, especially in this culture of just, I'm gonna do you how you do me. I'm gonna do, you don't have that. I feel like if you're with that mentality, you have a lot more energy than a lot of us do, because I ain't got the energy to think of a plan to get you back. I ain't got the energy to go like do petty stuff, like, I don't know, just try to make your world a living hell, which, you know, we all have the capacity, because I'm not gonna been there, done that, like in every way imaginable. I have been there and done that, and I don't have the energy anymore for it. I simply don't. Like, I am not going to, speaking from experience, I am not going down that road again. Like, and I think that just comes with age for a lot of people. So when I see, like, I don't know, it's just, it's more concerning when it's adults who are still like doing stuff like this. It's just like, just petty. Like, you don't have to. Like, people gonna do what they do. Your feelings are gonna get hurt. You're gonna heal through that one way or another. But it doesn't have to be from a negative space, right? You just have to forgive. And sometimes forgiveness, you know, you letting it go and letting what happens to that person, that situation, whether it be, you know, some really fucked up stuff, or just, you know, you parted ways on, you know, it just had to happen. Life is going to do what life is going to do, and you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about them. You don't have to worry about making a point. And that was another thing with me. Forgiveness was hard because I had to make a point. Like, I had to show you. I had to make you feel what I felt. And again, the energy it takes to do these things. Like, some people got the time. I don't have the time. I really don't. Because after this, I'm gonna take a nap because I'm tired as hell. So, but I brought it up just because the topic of forgiveness, just because of mental health and emotional health and spiritual well-being, because it is one of those major components that, you know, if your friends talk to you and you're venting or they're venting, a lot of people are holding on to a lot of things that sometimes people can't let go of. Sometimes people can't forgive because it's a cut so deep, it's a wound so deep that wasn't addressed when it should have been addressed, wasn't tended to. That wound wasn't tended to, that pain wasn't tended to early on, and it just cuts, it just grows. I know, like I said, like my closet of baggage like just burst open on me one day, and mentally I was gone. Like, I can't even describe that. Like, mentally I was gone. So from an emotional health standpoint, a mental health standpoint, you know, spiritual well-being and health standpoint, forgiveness is it's a great thing to be able to do genuinely and completely. Like, I mean, you'll still have moments where you might, because I'm not perfect, like, definitely when it comes to my father, like, I'll say some stuff, but it's but I think now, just going through what I've gone through in the last 2 years, like, if I were to enter into that same space, it would be whatever now, because it doesn't, like, I'm 30. I'm not taking this from 30 on to however long the Lord lets me live. Like, I'm just not. Like, you know what you did, I know what you did, I know what I did, and if there's no way to amicably, like, talk about it and bring peace to a situation, to address it all for me, because some people don't need things to be addressed. People are like, okay, it happened, let's just move on from here. But if you're like me and you need things to be addressed and the person isn't willing to address those things, then you have to take your L, count your losses, and go from there. There's a whole life to live. And you don't need to harbor negative energy. You don't need to harbor resentment. It makes you sick. It will make you sick. It will fuck up your mind. And then, you know, if you do have kids, or you are in some capacity to be of aid, to help others, or to pass on knowledge, don't pass on things that come from a place of, like, just anger. Because a lot of us have experienced that, where your parents tell you something, a family friend, or somebody you consider wise, somebody of wise counsel that you consider that are telling you things that are coming from a very negative place, a very hurt place, and then you take that into your adult life until you realize and have your own experiences that, hey, you don't have to work like that, you don't have to think like that, you can be bigger than that, you can be better than that. You don't have to, and I think that's it's a part of, you know, breaking these generational curses and not having to bring those, like, old school ideals and things like that. Because the fact that mental health awareness and all this different type of awarenesses for just the well-being of humans, the fact that it's still taboo in 2022 and everywhere, I mean, literally every platform on social media has addressed it. News, if you're, you know, you're older and you don't watch, you know, or you're not on social media or whatever, the news has brought up different things. There's different what's the word I'm looking for? Programs, businesses that are advocating for this, different marches, walks. There's all kind of things that are advocating for this, and people still will just think like, no. And I know it takes a minute for some, and some it doesn't happen, but for some it takes a minute to be like, okay, yes, I had this one mindset, this one mentality for X number of years, but it is possible to think in another way. It is possible to grow and to not think that the emotions I feel are not validated, are not respected, don't need to be heard. I just need to work and keep it to myself. I just need to not be a burden to others. And then you have these moments, these really sad moments of people taking their lives because it was too much. Where I think in that space, we have to be better. We have to, if somebody comes to us, and if you're a person that's not in that space yet, totally of understanding, mental health and all that comes with that, and emotional health and spiritual health. If you're not in a place, if you're not a person that's in a place to understand those things, and somebody comes to you and you're like, I'm just overwhelmed and I can't, and I do this, do that, and you're just like, suck it up, suck it up, suck it up, suck it up. You don't know what kind of damage you're doing to that person. And yeah, one size doesn't fit all, and we are all able to change our ways of thinking as part of growing. As part, you don't want to stay the same. You don't want to stay stagnant for like 50 years of your life. Like, I think I really like this point in time, even though there are a lot of things that do need to change and we need to do better on and, grow in. But I think, like, this point of time we're in, because people are now concerned with taking care of the human, taking care of the person. A lot of people are becoming entrepreneurs because, the 9-to-5 grind or whatever, and people mistreating you and just thinking you're a number and you're not worth anything, or just not even having enough time for your family. A lot of people, they know that their parents were hardworking because they were hardly around, they were always tired, but they made a way, they did this. But if they didn't have to do that, do you think they would have? If they had the option to actually be with their family more, if they had options, you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure everybody would choose that over working themselves to death and dealing with the health issues and the after effects, like, on the body after all that. So yeah, I didn't mean to get off track because we were talking about forgiveness, but it is part of, your well-being. It does matter, because I thought for a long time that it did not. And like I said, I'm not fully, well-versed on it, but I know at this point my peace is more important than anything. Like, it's hard not to hold on to some things, but when you look at the bigger picture, which has been my main focus lately, just the bigger picture. Yes, this happened. Yes, it was messed up. Does that person really understand how messed up it was? Maybe, maybe not. But either way, they aren't ready to talk about whatever it is. You're not gonna. How long are you gonna hold on to this? How long? You know what I mean? Like, and I know this can vary in different instances, especially when it comes to death, especially if a family member, a friend, or something was murdered or hurt sexually or something like that. I know that, this, for some people, this doesn't like cover that. It's just like there's no amount of whatever, there's no amount of this, there's no amount of that. And I won't speak on that because I haven't experienced that, but just know that harboring, holding on to that does no good for you. It doesn't dismiss the fact that it was fucked up. It doesn't dismiss the fact that somebody may have got away with something that they shouldn't have got away with, or that it was horrible or awful. But don't let that eat at you. Don't let that make you bitter, make you hard, make you hurt. We don't know why certain things happen to certain people and doesn't happen to others. And we may feel at times that like, oh man, I just can't. How many times do I have to forgive? How many times do I have to do this? How many times? And then that is on you to assess that and to maybe seek counsel. And therapy was great for me, and I recommend it for others. I would get back into therapy if I had the funds to do that again. Which I am going to claim, because it's looking like that. But definitely would go back into it, and definitely would just like just seek counsel, seek something, seek someone. If it's God, if it's spiritual, whatever it may be, seek something or someone that has like some credibility to it, somebody that can relate, something that can relate, whatever. Don't drown in whatever it is, because I think we all know a lot of people who drown holding on to things and they never come up, and they're just viewed as one way, but we all know it's just hurt, we all know it's just pain, we all know it's, you know, certain things that some people find it hard to forgive and let go of. So that's what this lovely video is about today, episode 3. I hope you guys are enjoying the Brew'S with Brianna episodes. I'm trying to get my brother for the next one, but we'll see. If not, I do have somebody else lined up to offer I guess something a little bit more lighthearted in a way, but still informative, still providing different perspectives, still providing, you know, different ideas on things. And yeah, so I hope you guys are enjoying them. Mondays at 9 p.m. This is only going to be like maybe for another 3 to 4 weeks. It was just something, again, to replace the 516 March travel series, because I am not currently traveling. So, but once I hit this like 3 to 4 week mark, that will be changing. So again, I hope you enjoyed Brew'S with Brianna, and this was a topic on forgiveness.